Hello everyone, Batman 2049 back with the Star Wars What If. Now, we've all know about the world between worlds and all that other stuff, but I got a different story today. This story is going to take place right after the battle on Mustafar, where Obi-Wan and Vader are fighting. Obi-Wan says to Anakin, "I have the high ground." That's where this will start. "You underestimate my power. Don't try it." Anakin flips over him and gets cut to pieces. "You are the chosen one," and all that other stuff. But before Anakin gets burned, Obi-Wan refuses to watch his Padawan suffer. So with little power Obi-Wan still has inside of him, he uses the Force to pull Vader up the hill. He picks up Anakin's lightsaber, but Anakin, using the last Force strength he had, rips it from his master's hand and throws it in the lava. With the color of blue back in his eyes, he says, "My old master, take Padme and get her as far away from here as possible. You and Yoda, please. I've already sealed my fate. I can't let my family suffer." So Obi-Wan wants to stay, but all of a sudden a shuttle appears overhead. Obi-Wan dashes back, picks up Padme, and leaves. They go to Polis Massa, where not only is Luke born, but Leia also, and Padme survives. It is heavily implied that Palpatine used Padme's life force to keep Vader alive. I believe that's actually true. But we're going to change it. Being that Vader isn't burnt to a crisp, it's just his limbs missing. Palpatine will give him 3 new limbs. He'll get a newer suit, not one like this, but still one that'll strike fear into the heart of the galaxy. He'll customize a new lightsaber with a crimson red crystal. Aboard Polis Massa, Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Bail Organa are talking, when all of a sudden they get a transmission. "Mr. Organa, sir, we got a transmission coming in." "Who's it from?" "A young Padawan named Tano." Obi-Wan goes, "Ahsoka Tano. Grant her permission to land." As soon as she lands, out steps Ahsoka and Captain Rex. Rex runs up to Obi-Wan and says, "My old friend, it's good to see you. Listen, I know it's probably too late to tell you, but the clones, there's an inhibitor chip in their head that makes them do this. Ahsoka saved me, but I don't know if it's late enough to save everybody else. You need to leave. We all need to. They will not stop. The Order will not stop until all Jedi are destroyed. We have to leave." Yoda looks around the room and says, "Agree I do. Into exile. We all must go." Ahsoka looks at Obi-Wan and says, "What's to be done with the twins?" Padme walks into the room and says, "Ahsoka, it's good to see you. Likewise, Padme." That's when Obi-Wan says, "Ahsoka, I'm going into exile on Tatooine. Where will you go that's far away from Vader and the Emperor?" Ahsoka looks at Padme and knows they can't go to Naboo. That would be one of the first places. So, being that they want to go somewhere where the Emperor can't find them, Yoda says, "To Tython you must go. First planet of the Jedi it was. Train the children there you must. Yes." So, they go to Tython, where Ahsoka trains Luke and Leia in the ways of the Force. Padme tells them all about their father. Throughout their training, Luke and Leia would construct their own lightsabers, both double-bladed saber staffs. Luke's color is green, while Leia's is purple. Over the time, Ahsoka gets 2 new lightsabers, and hers are blue in honor of her master. Their training commences for about 15 years. But let's jump back over to Darth Vader. One night, when he's in his chamber, resting, in the Bacta tank, he hears a voice. Anakin Skywalker? He looks in front of him. It's the Force ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn. Anakin says, that name no longer has any meaning to me. Ah, Anakin, so you do remember yourself. I killed Anakin Skywalker. I am what remains. Come now, Anakin. Do not worry. I know I can save you. Trust me, you must, just like you trust the Force. And with one swift motion, Vader blocks any images of Qui-Gon or any Force Ghost being able to touch him. He knows if they do, they could bring Anakin back, and he refuses to let that happen. Before he pushes Qui-Gon away, he says, all that matters is my family's alive. I don't care about anything else. So Qui-Gon leaves. And over the 15 years, Luke, Leia, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Ahsoka all train in exile. Tython is a Force nexus. It has both the light and the dark, so nobody could sense him out there, because it's a connection between both sides. Yoda exiled himself on Dagobah, a dark side Force nexus, which means that even though he's there, the Emperor can't see him or feel him. Now, we get to the part where it's the battle for the first Death Star. Luke and Leia have returned. Padme has returned. Ahsoka's still in hiding. Luke still blows up the Death Star. Leia still becomes a member of the Rebels. Padme, on the other hand, refuses to get involved in politics ever again. So she goes to Naboo to live out her life. One day while she's there, a ship lands. A Lanta-class shuttle. She knows who it is. The dark figure walks out to her and says, Padme. She looks up and it's Darth Vader. She knows it's Anakin. He looks at her, knows that she's alive. She says, they're alive, Anakin. Come back to me. He turns around and walks away and says, I wanted to make sure Obi-Wan held his promise. Stay as far away from me as possible. I am no longer the husband you married. He died by my hand. She said, then the man I loved is truly dead. He gets back on the shuttle, but before he leaves, he says, it's not safe for you on here. This is also Chancellor Palpatine's home planet. Don't forget that. He leaves and goes back and does whatever the Emperor tells him to do. We are about to get into The Empire Strikes Back. Han and Leia leave Hoth in the Millennium Falcon, alongside C-3PO and R2-D2. I should mention that Obi-Wan still dies at the hand of Darth Vader aboard the first Death Star. Now, we get to the part where Luke and Leia are on Dagobah, finishing their training with Master Yoda and Ahsoka Tano. Before they leave, Obi-Wan shows himself to both apprentices and says, you both are very powerful, but you're not ready to face your father. Leia scoffs and looks at Obi-Wan and says, my father is not that machine. My father is underneath all that. Vader killed him, and I will have my revenge. Luke looks at his sister and says, revenge is not the Jedi way. We can't go down this path. Look what happened to our father. She takes a deep breath and says, Luke, the one who will bring Darth Vader, our father, back from the light is you. I have my own task. Yoda, Master Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka, I thank you for your training, but I must leave. She hops aboard one X-Wing and flies out of there. Now I should mention, in this story, Leia has an X-Wing, but what Luke flies will be held in part 2. Leia flies to none other than Ahch-To and exiles herself there. She knows that her anger would get the better of her if she fought against Vader. But while she's there, a familiar voice. Young Skywalker, the daughter of Anakin. My, you sure have grown. Leia turns over and says, Master Qui-Gon, is that you? Ah, Obi-Wan and Yoda taught you about me. Yes, Master. But why are you here? To complete your final stages of your training. Are you ready? Yes, Master. And we leave this part off with Leia getting trained by Qui-Gon Jinn, Luke getting ready to go face his father, and Padme exiled on Naboo. All the rest will be explained in part 2. Till then, may the power protect you always. Never forget it's your move. May the Force be with you. Kamehameha. Bye.